Hey now, I love hot breakfasts, bacon, eggs, all that jazz. So today I want to try to make a sourdough that captures bacon and eggs within it, which will literally just be bacon and eggs in the sourdough. So I don't know, come along for the ride. Let's see how it goes. Now we're starting off really simple here. It's just a slight variation of my standard basic sourdough recipe. I've got some filtered water, and that's 350 grams of that. What I'm doing here is a 70% hydration, and that is based on the 500 grams of the strong baker's flour that we're going to be adding into this. So any of the other ingredients I put in here, if I'm mentioning a percentage, it's a percentage of that 500 grams. So 350 mils or grams of water, and that is a 70% hydration. So we're going to add that. And now you can wait to add your salt. I'm going to add it right now. I don't find that there's a huge difference in my autolyse when I have the salt in right off the bat. So I'm just going to kind of skip that later step there and add it in now. I'm not adding anything super fun to this initial dough. I'm just going to use my hands here and get it mixed up really quickly. All right, there we are, all nicely mixed up here. Now, before I forget, I do want to mention that that was 1.4% or 7 grams of fine sea salt that I added here. That's a little bit less than I typically put in these recipes. However, because of the bacon and all that stuff going in here, I didn't want to risk being too salty. So now I'm just going to throw the lid on my nice little plastic proofing bin here and let it autolyse for at least an hour while I prep the other ingredients. Now, for my eggs, I'm going with scrambled eggs here. This was 2 eggs. I just added a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper, and there's a little splash of milk in there too. Now I'm not adding any extra salt to this, but just before these eggs are done, I am going to throw in just a little splash of some marbled cheese here and mix it in. So there we are, lightly cheesy scrambled eggs, and that wound up being 115 grams when everything was said and done there. So that comes out to 23%. You could go with any kind of scrambled egg mixture that you like at home. Now, of course, we can't have bacon and egg sourdough without the bacon. Now, this is actually really kind of sad here. This was a 375 gram package that after baking it in the oven to a relatively nice crispy bacon here became 182 grams. Pathetic. I think it's time for me to make some of my homemade bacon here again. This is ridiculous. Anyway, this is going to get cooled down and chopped up. So this winds up being 35% of the baker's percentage here for the sourdough. So after an hour here, our dough is ready to add some leaven. I've got this here all perfect and jiggly and ready to be added. So I've added 125 grams, or that is 25% with that baker's percentage here. And I'm just going to plunge some of that into the dough there with my fingertips, and then just using this little pinch and fold method, I'm going to get this incorporated fully through here, which will probably take a few minutes. And here we are, all nicely combined. I'm just going to fire this lid back on here and let it sit. So after 30 minutes here, it is time just to moisten my hands once more and deal with this dough. Just going to do some stretch and folds here. Just put a little bit of strength in this bread. Just going to do that 4 times here. Then I'm going to pop the lid back on and let this rest again. After 20 minutes, I'm ready to work with this dough once again. So I'm just going to do another little round of stretch and folds here. Then I'm going to cover this back up and let it rest. So after that 20 minutes here, I'm just going to pop out this dough and I'm going to start stretching it out for a lamination. So this has the added benefit of not just stretching out and adding strength to this dough, but also allowing me the opportunity to load it up with some super fun ingredients here. So this is just going to take a minute to stretch out. All right, so I feel like I've sort of hit the limit of what I'm going to be able to stretch this out like here. Now, what I want to do is add, first of all, some of this lovely bacon that after it cooled down, I just roughly chopped it there, as well as some of the scrambled eggs. Whew, it smells like breakfast. I don't know, it's awesome. All right, so after that first little layer there, I'm just going to go ahead and get this over. So we're going for that middle third, going to then get this over top of that middle third, get some more bacon in here, as well as some of those eggs, and fold this over. Person starts to hit that point where you're wondering, okay, these too many ingredients for what I want to do here. And you slap yourself and you say, no, let's just do it anyway. Okay. Got that. And You know what, I'm not even super upset if I don't wind up getting quite all of this bacon into here, because I'm just going to honestly eat that as soon as the camera gets turned off here anyway. And just the last little bit of this. I'm actually just going to wash my hands up here quickly before I try to actually wrap this up here. All right, cleaned up, which will just make this final little wrap move a little bit easier to do. I'm going to tuck everything around here. Try to mostly contain what I've got. I know that's not going to be 100% possible, but here we are, a bread that is now loaded up with all kinds of awesomeness. I'm just going to get this back into my container here. We're going to cover it up and let it bulk ferment. Okay, so after that lamination, I let this hang out here just about 4.5 hours actually. I wanted to wait until it looked like it had some really nice fermentation going on. So now I'm just going to get this out and onto the countertop here. Now I'm going to do a quick pre-shaping. This with some floured hands. And I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes and just see how it turns out. And after that few minutes, this is still looking good. So just one quick little final shape with all of that delightful stuff inside there. It's retaining its shape quite decently. And I'm just going to pop it up, get it into this banneton, and cover it up and get it in the fridge overnight. And after a night of nice cold fermentation, I've got the oven preheated here at 500 degrees with the combo cooker in it. It is time to bake. Just going to flip this out. Just get a little bit more that rice flour on there. This little simple scoring pattern. We're going to get this into the oven. Once it's covered up, we're going to reduce the temperature to 440 degrees and give it 35 minutes to bake. So after that, 35, I'm going to turn the temperature down here uncovered to 430 degrees and give it another 20 minutes or so. After 21 minutes, this bread is looking ready, so we're going to pop it out of the oven. Oh, now we just have to wait for this bread to cool down before we can slice into it. It's almost breakfast time. All right, all cooled down. Now this did appear to have deflated just a little bit as it was cooling down, which made me a bit sad there. But I mean, with all of that bacon and the eggs and stuff in there, it was sort of inevitable that it wouldn't want to have quite as much rise as some of my other sourdoughs. But anyway, we got to slice into this and taste before anybody else catches on to what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Slice in, taking a look. Woo, definitely have some bacon. I can see some eggs. Fantastic. Okay, let's get a slice. Okay, so I cut a slice and I toasted it up because, I mean, I want my bacon and eggs hot, right? Hot breakfast. Got a little bit of butter on there. Let's have a little taste-a-roo. Okay, this is an incredibly delicious bread. I'm very, very pleased with this. You have the nice smoky saltiness coming out of that bacon. There's the rich creaminess out of those cheesy scrambled eggs. And toast, it's breakfast right here in a slice of toast. You got the bacon, you got the eggs, you got the toast, the butter, all of that jazz. Incredibly delicious, really fun experiment. I highly recommend that you do this. Definitely a conversation starter over the breakfast table with whomever you may be sharing it with. Give it a whirl. If you try it, please let me know how you like it. And until next time, keep your breakfast at 11.